Hey, we're back in full effect. How you guys doing? One more day left of school for the people with the youngins. Woo, thank you, Jesus.
And some
Hallelujah.
of us are like, they going to camp? Where camp at? You know what I mean? They need to get out the house.
Where can we drop them off?
Where
Okay.
can we drop them off? Because
Who
that's going to
wants
be way too
some
much
extra
energy in the house.
coins to come get these babies? All
There's too
right.
much energy in the house.
So welcome back to our show, our channel. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. We just out here with the people talking about important things, getting politically involved, as well as current events. We have a few current events that we haven't touched yet, but this is a election mid-year, so that's important too. My name is Anarnique Pierre Grant, but you can call me Nikki. Sandra Schaffer, my co-host, and we are in our candidate series. So we've spoken to a few school board candidates, and Dameka Davis Esquire is our first commission candidate, right? I think so. Our first commission candidate. Mm-hmm. We did speak to a mayor of North Lauderdale. We did speak to her. But this is our first candidate for the Broward County Commission that seats 9 people. It's been controversial a little bit, that Broward County Commission. But we're gonna muddle through and get ourselves together. So we are going to, I'm gonna let my co-host introduce herself and say a few things. Again, like, share, and subscribe if you like what you like on YouTube. We still out here in these COVID streets. So I'm asking people to continue wearing your mask. My co-host wear her mask all the time, but she happens to catch a cold from the babies. You know how it is with the kids.
Yeah. She went to a field trip on Friday. Yeah. And she came home sick. Then the boy got sick, and then I got sick, and I'm here with like this headache is like boom, boom, boom. But I was like, we made a commitment. We're gonna get through the interview. So if I don't talk too much, it's okay. I'm here. I'm listening. And we'll try to do our best. Yep. At least I'll try to do my best.
That's right.
Yeah. And you hear my voice is kind of sounding.
Yeah.
But we're all good though.
We're praying for you. All right. So do you want us to go ahead and introduce Dameka and allow her?
No, she can go ahead and introduce herself. We don't need to read no script. She good, right? She talks for a living. She may not want to talk because she like, listen, I be talking all the time. I feel like talking, but she got this. You know what I mean? She got this.
Go on, sis.
Sell herself better than we can sell her. All right.
That's right. You got the floor, sis. Go on.
She got it.
Well, thank you for that grand interest, sisters. I'm happy to be here. My name is Dameka Davis. I am your candidate to become the next Broward County Commissioner of District 6. I am so excited to be here. Thank you for the warm welcome and the invitation. And I am a first-time candidate. I'm originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma, which I always promote. I'm from Black Wall Street. I am from a community where our people are silenced and have been silenced for years. And that was one of my primary reasons for jumping into this race. And whenever I get an opportunity, I always try to promote Black Wall Street to educate our community that we had people that look like you and I with real wealth, real resources. Even though they're trying to wipe away our history, we won't let them do that. Yeah. Now, I'm an attorney by day. I'm also a mom, I'm a business owner, and I'm a community advocate. I love what I do. A lot of people are familiar with what I do. And so I defend people that have been charged with criminal cases. I also do civil rights work, and I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So, Dameka, me and you met a while back. and I met Dameka doing what she does, which is advocate for kids. We were, I think it was the children's, what place was that?
Oh, it was Everett Village.
Yes. Where it was. Yes. She put on this whole, evening for them, got them gifts and all that other stuff. That's my first introduction to Dameka. So she's the real deal. That's what she do. She does do it. This is not lip service. So I've seen her in action. And we have a mutual friend that introduced me. And then she was like, well, you want to come on and help us volunteer? I said, sure, whatever we got to do for the kids. Heck yeah, I'm in for it. So Dameka is real. That's true. And that was years ago. So she's been doing this for quite some time. That was useful.
That was a while ago. I just
one of your babies were little. You were still holding her. I think it's her, right? Holding her in your arm or whatever. So that baby was itty bitty. Okay. So she's toting babies and taking and trying to do stuff for people. So this is the real deal. This is not, I'm not trying to plug or whatever. I haven't seen Dameka since then. So it's not like, whatever. So that's just my little thing. Go ahead, Dameka. Go on, tell people about yourself.
You cry because now I'm a board member of SOS Children's Village. Nice. And if I do a quick blurb about what SOS Village is, and thank you so much, Nikki, for coming and showing up, because I'm a board member of a foster village. They call it the Village. And so these children have been displaced from their parents. And the great work of the SOS Village is keeping children that have siblings together. So what a lot of people don't know is that they see foster children, they're thinking it's just one child. No, a lot of times these children get separated, not only from their parents, but from their siblings too. And so SOS Village does such a great work. And Nikki actually met me at I believe it was, I can't remember if it was a back to school.
Christmas. I think it was Christmas. It was like a Christmas thing.
Yes. Yeah. And so what we did is we got the kids in collaboration with some other attorneys, because I can't even take all the credit for that.
That's true. She did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we had volunteers, we had donors, and just overall supporters that were there trying to help us have these, let these kids have an opportunity to a Christmas. And we did it with just everyday people like you and I. That's how change happens.
Absolutely.
And how we support our children. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. So, first-time candidate, what made you make the decision to run for city commission? It was like not city, but Broward County Commission. What was the impetus that got you to do that? What made you decide to go ahead and do that?
It was several things, if I could be completely honest. I think I've always wanted to represent people in some capacity. So naturally becoming a lawyer was a footstool for me, but I didn't even really want to be a lawyer. I really wanted to serve people as a politician. But really what the tipping edge for me is, if I'm being honest, was our county's response to COVID. I got sick and tired of not knowing whether or not me and my children were going to die from COVID, whether my business would survive COVID. And the fact that we didn't have adequate resources during this very difficult time, was the tipping point for me. I was completely fed up with our county's response. And more importantly, that most of us had to depend upon the federal government to save us. I just thought it was a poor response.
All right. So I have a question. So a lot of us don't really know what county commissioners do, right? Like what their responsibilities are, how much they can get involved. We've been interviewing candidates. We've been interviewed people who are running on the federal level, local level, state level, all that, right? And so one of the things we talk about is how, down ballot candidates are important. The ones that's making local decisions are important. But what is it that a county commissioner is actually responsible for, or the people can rely on them to get done for them?
That's a wonderful question. This is why we have to get involved on a local level. So I thank you for tapping into that. And I thank you for prompting me to answer that question. So primarily what the Broward County Commission does, and Nikki heard me talk about this last time, they are meeting when most of us are at work. They're meeting, most of us are unavailable, have no clue what's going on. Okay. What the Broward County Commission does is primarily three things. They create policy. They are almost like an oversight of how we distribute money and budgeting for programs here in our county. And so Broward County Commission, has representatives from each district that regularly hold meetings, again, every Tuesday, not every Tuesday, but a Tuesday a month. And that is primarily their three charges: to come up with policy, oversee the budget that impacts all of us. So those are like the primary three issues that the Broward County Commission handles.
Okay. So what kind of policy can they get involved with? Like what types of things can they do? Because, like when you say create policy, we got healthcare issues, we got small business issues, we got environmental issues, we got maybe some stuff with law enforcement, we got this funding of the police and all kinds, it's a lot of stuff going on. So what exactly is it? What is it that of that the Broward County Commission is doing? And then what type of job are you doing? So I want to know what type of policy is it that they're creating? I got another question, but I want to know what kind of policy are they involved in creating?
So everything that you just said. everything that you just said, anything from education to criminal justice reform, environmental policies, everything, voting, right? I think the biggest misstep for our community is that we think, and back to law school real quick. Whew, Lord, it's been some years ago since law school. But if you think about it like this, our federal government sets, for lack of better words, the floor for what our state and local governments can do and not do. So in other words, and somebody just let me know if I'm not making any sense, because it's been a long day. And like Sandra was saying, I've been talking all day, but our federal government sets the floor. So our federal government, for example, will say, the minimum age is 18, right? But because the federal government sets, for lack of a better words, that floor, the local government can set what we call a ceiling, right? So for instance, our local government, our Broward County Commission can come in and say, you know what, I know the federal government, the Congress met, and they said that the minimum age that you can purchase a firearm is 18. But how about we implement some policy or come up with a law to where the residents of Broward County cannot purchase a firearm to the age of 20? Commission votes, and then boom, that's how it affects all of us on a local level. So in other words, everything that you just said, from education to environment, voting, healthcare, it can stretch as far as that. As long as the federal government has set that floor, for lack of a better words, we can touch issues that impact us. And quite frankly, most of these issues impact us on a very much everyday basis, way more than the federal government will.
All right, so you talked about education. So there's 6 school board seats that's up, right? How does the county commission, Broward County Commission, how do they work with the school board, if they work with them at all? We had a governor the last couple of years that was just getting involved, just giving everybody a headache. At least that's how I see it. I saw him as giving everybody a headache. So what can the Broward County Commission do to help navigate the school board and, I don't know, protect, insulate them from the governor, if that's even something they can do?
So they can do it through being an ally and working in collaboration with the school board. So the governor can come up with orders, he can come up with laws or whatever. But on a local level, our county and those elected officials within our county can work collaboratively together to make sure they're listening to the issues that are impacting the constituents and impacting the people. In your example, the students, parents, staff, we work in collaboration with the school board, bring the issues up, vote on it, and that's how it impacts all of us.
So I have a question. You talked about the county commission creating policy. Does the county commission work with constituents to create policy? And if so, what policy do you know of that was created with the constituents or with the community that is currently something that is the policy for Broward County at this time?
Sure. So for instance, during the commission meetings, I kind of touched on it earlier, I think at the onset of our meeting, but the commission will have these meetings at 10 a.m. on Tuesdays. They can take public comments during these hearings. In fact, I'm just now leaving one, not the Broward County one, but a city commission meeting. So they hold hearings. People can ask to be heard. Certain groups may want to be heard as well. And so in essence, when an issue comes up on the agenda, public comment will be heard. And then the Broward County Commission will vote on that one way or the other, based upon ideally what we would like to say, comments, the law, history, how it's impacted people one way or the other. One of the more recent ones that they did vote on is everyone has heard, or at least it's been in the news lately, about reproductive rights for women. And so how some states, Florida hasn't taken it up yet, but how some states are completely banning a woman's access to reproductive health, aka abortions. And so one of the most recent ones, that one kind of came up when it started becoming an issue. And what the commission will do then, they'll put it on the agenda, they'll hear comment, and put policy in place to either support, approve it, or deny it. And in that instance, they voted to protect women, at least in our county, women's reproductive rights. Excuse me.
Yeah, so I know that in some places, not only are they trying to ban abortions, but also birth control, right? They're even going that far, which is like...
Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. You are absolutely right. And so that's why, to all of our points that we're here, and I appreciate you guys for having this platform, it matters. Your local elections, man, y'all can speak to that. I don't even have to say anything. But these local elections... I find it very disturbing that people only vote during the presidential year. I mean, it's alarming. So we got to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I had a question, because you talked about the 3 things that the county commissions do, and one of them is that they budget money, right? So one of the things we see in Broward County is like there's some inequities in the cities, right, in terms of what they get. You know, I live in one of those cities that got an east side, they call it historic now, and then we got the west side, and that seems to happen in a couple of different cities in Broward County, where the people on the east side don't seem to get as much as the west side, right? What can but everybody has needs, right? So what can the Broward County Commission, or what do you plan on doing, if you can do anything, about trying to make it more equitable in terms of, like, east side folks need stuff too, right?
That's why our commission has to be reflective of the people that we serve, because it's nothing like representation. And thank you so much for talking about that, because one of my slogans is vote for me because I'm going to bring equity to Broward. I spoke with you guys all, and I told you guys I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. My mother had me when she was 15 years old. Okay. So, and I always say as well that sometimes the people closest to the problems are the people that's closest to the solutions. And I stand behind that 100%. Our commission has to be reflective of the people that it serves. It must. And when it comes to equity, equality says you deserve a seat at the table. But equity says, okay, you deserve a seat at the table, but what can we do to make it an even playing field? We all deserve to live. I want to live a good life. And I know all of you do too. And I'm tired of the inequity, especially, y'all know this best, during COVID. You've seen it. It just almost raised it to the ground. How certain communities had access to things that other communities did not. And so I'm fed up about that. And so I apologize if I'm raising my voice, but I cannot have that happen anymore. It won't happen anymore. And that's why we have to elect people. We cannot sit out on no election. We have to get people in office, and people also need to run for office that reflect everyday people. Because when we have a seat at the table, our voices are heard. Whether that be on an elective capacity or just showing up to a meeting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, so one of the things I'm gonna say something, it might be like a little not nice, right? But I'm also talking about myself too, right? So and we're seeing this happen with a lot of candidates. AOC, when she first ran, she got her shoes with a hole in it, in the congressional hall or something like that, to show how she walked and blah, 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 blah. Then I read something last week that she got a Tesla and all of that, and I'm also one of those folks that I grew up in Little Haiti, right? And, luckily my mom still, well, I don't know if it's lucky, but my mom still lives there because she wants to, not because she have to, right? And, and so I continue to go home to stay grounded, right? Because, I could move to where I live and don't have to pay attention to nothing that's happening in Little Haiti overtime to 305. I don't have to worry about it. So how do we, a lot of people come in with good intentions, right? And the thing that I'm a little embarrassed about that I do is, like, somehow I became a fabric snob, right? Like, once I got a little bit of money, I would not buy 180 count thread sheets. I just won't do it. I'm like, they don't feel good. They be scratching the skin. No, I'm buying nice sheets, right? And so what I think tends to happen is folks, like, they get into these positions of power, there's, not necessarily even on purpose, but they kind of just disconnect from what people are doing every day. We ended up getting these fancy degrees that allowed us to make some money. And if we can actually set our lives up that we never got to go back and do anything, right? So how do you, a person you said from Tulsa, born to a teenage mom, how is it that you can give us some assurances? I don't know if assurances is the right word, but how can you stay grounded? And when you get there and you start getting your checks or whatever, you be like, I want to do it, but you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of compromise going on. And there's a whole bunch of folks that don't want to really do nothing for people who live on the East Side, for example.
I
hope you understand what I'm saying.
And to tack on to what Sandra was saying, everybody who wants to serve come off like you. They come in the beginning, they want to serve, they want to be there for the people. And then there's a transition that happens, right? And there will be a transition with anybody that happens once you get to elected office. So the question becomes, like Sandra said, how do you stay grounded? How do you stay for the people and not be and resist the climb?
Yeah. And all that power, how you don't get drunk with the power and start doing all these things.
Try not to do it.
That's my hard question for the day. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a good question. And I thank you for that. I think it's all about accountability. And I think you just have to hold folks accountable, number one. And number two, it's also about, because I tend to agree with you, both of you ladies, I don't think it's intentional, right? But I think it's about accountability and also, again, making sure that people are involved in the process. Those are a couple of things that I'm not scared of. I do it every day in court, and I get humbled every day in court, And so it's really about holding our elected officials, not only because I'm a candidate running for office, but because I'm an accountable individual. Ms. Davis, you told me you was going to do X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. Now, what's the status of it? Why haven't I seen it? Or whatever. So I can tell you that about me. I value accountability. I'm not scared of nothing. I'm not, I welcome challenges. And that's why when I told you, I invite those questions. You should, if I sat up here and I ran on a platform telling you I'm gonna provide you X, Y, and Z, you should come back and expect it. And if you don't see it, to question it. That's the wonderful part about living in this country.
Okay, so you could question it, but then you ain't the only person making that decision. So it can't happen unless you could get does it have to be like 5-4 over there? How would you get some of your other colleagues on the board to do what's right for the people?
You fight for it every day, right? And I'm gonna be frank with you. Not everything that goes before the commission wins, it gets approved. Sometimes you have really legitimate good stuff on the floor and you can make a public comment about it and people still vote against you because they have other intentions or alliances or whatever the case may be. But I can tell you that what I do every day is speak truth to power. And so regardless of if it gets approved or not, if it's not something that I personally believe in, I'm going to make sure that they hear it and that they feel it. As a criminal defense and a civil rights attorney, I can tell you I lose just about 99% of the battles that I fight every day. And it gets tiring. And you almost start growing a healthy distrust of the system. But that doesn't stop my fight. And it won't stop my fight if I'm elected to be your Broward County Commissioner. Your voice will be heard. I will fight for you. And regardless of what those other people do, I'm going to stay true to who I am and why I'm running.
So what can we do to not lose those criminal cases and those civil rights cases? Like what's the plan for that?
Oh, we got to vote. Not you specifically, right? But we got to put in judges, prosecutors, we literally, it comes down to voting. I know it sounds so cliche. It really does. But we have to also advocate wherever we can advocate and take up space where we're supposed to be taking up space. So not to bore everybody, but like last week, I had a trial, very serious case, extremely serious. The only people that was in the courtroom was me and my client, and we were the only people of color. Then when I had to pick a jury, about 99% of the jury was coming up with bogus reasons as to why they didn't want to serve. So you mean to tell me that I have a person in this courtroom where he and I are the only people of color, and I can't find not one person of color who's willing to sit with us and bring their life experiences to that deliberation room? And this could make the difference between freeing my client and him going to prison.
So I know, like, I think I know that one of the things judges can do is, like, if they think a person is deliberately trying to not be on the jury, can't they prosecute them? Is that something you would advocate for?
So yes, so we fight for it every day. So the judge, listen, we all know the game. Like we know what these people are trying to do.
I'm just asking a question.
I'm spilling some tea real quick. Hold on, but can I spill it? Sorry, y'all. I'm getting over a cold too. So the judges, they peep that, and we all do. And so what the judges will try to do is, before it starts getting around to the other jurors, the judges will oftentimes try to intervene and say, listen, Miss Grant, you got to work. I know you got to work. I know you got children, whatever. But if I can promise you that we'll be out in time enough for you to do everything that you got to do, and I'm instructing you, to do that and to focus on this case, you can do that, right? She'll be like, I mean, I guess, Judge, But a lot of times we also try to rehabilitate jurors as well. If they say something kind of off, we try to fight for them and keep them.
Okay. Because that kind of was a sidetrack. Because
no, that's important. Because that's important.
Yeah, but right? how was her advocating for that on the commission? Because can she because does that mesh? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out.
No, because one of the things she said is that the board has stuff to do with criminal justice too.
Okay.
So criminal justice is part of what they deal with.
All right. Okay. And I do have a BSO question, but I'm not gonna get to that yet because I know that you guys oversee that budget, correct? The district, the commissioner oversees the budget of the. Okay. All right. So in your last interview, you talked about three things, the top three things that your campaign is focusing on: small businesses, education, and environment. And then you mentioned that the Broward County Commission has no environmental programs, have no recycle programs. And so I want you to elaborate a little bit on your top three things, as well as what the Broward County Commission does not have. And is any of the budget part of that? Does any of the budget funds for the small business, education, and environment?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, our county is given money, and the Broward County Commission comes up with budgets and they approve the distribution of those funds. I have looked at the distribution of these funds that this commission is voting on. And if I'm being honest, a lot of our money that is supposed to be allocated to Broward County programs is going outside of our county. It's going to Miami-Dade. And why is that? Why? Can somebody please tell me that? I don't know why. Listen, we got needs here. We have programs that need to be funded. We have things that have to be done. And that is another part of the reason why I think Sandra had asked me, what are the three things that the commission does? Yes, these people oversee our budgets and they distribute funds. And I can tell you, even a candidacy aside, our commission is sending money, if you can even believe it, outside of our county.
For what though? What are they sending money to Miami-Dade County for?
Yeah, what Miami-Dade?
YMCA, and those are all notable, wonderful programs.
Hold up, we got YMCA in Broward. We got a few.
My membership like $83 a month.
I know
what they need money for.
And we got ballet programs. We got money for our school. We got all of that here. And it's really a shame to me and a missed opportunity that we're sending money outside of this county when all of us here have named issues that money could be going to. And so, I told you, the trial lawyer in me, I start telling the story. So going back to the 3 points that I made, I mentioned small businesses, education, and our environment. Those are some things that mean a lot to me. And those are certainly things amongst others that I would like to prioritize. I have shared with you guys, I'm a small business owner. I employ women of color, not by design, but it just so happened to kind of flush out that way. But a lot of small businesses employ people like you and I. And so it's important to me that our small businesses in our county survive. Nikki said it earlier, we're still in the COVID health pandemic. We got a long way to go. And if our small businesses close down, that's going to feed into a lot of the evictions that I believe are forthcoming. It's some things that are forthcoming, and I don't want to make this a doom and gloom session, but I do believe in the strength of building our small businesses. Education, y'all already know this education thing is a hot topic this election season. And so we got to do more things to build up our children and build up the parents and the staff that support our children, to protect them so that our kids can be the very best that they can be in this county. Because I believe that when we protect these kids and we give them the best shot that they can, our county is better for it. Our county is better for it.
So do you think the Broward County Commission can come up with a policy to combat that of the state because they're shutting down so-called CRT, with the
banning math books?
Yeah, banning math books and
day in the classroom.
Yeah. So can the commission come up with a policy that will protect the Broward County School District from this unnecessary and unfounded legislation? Is there something that the commission can do to protect, our local government, so to speak?
Yes, it's certainly something that the commission can do, and that they should get involved in too. I forgot to say too, and I think most of, I don't know the ages of the kids, but let's just say, for instance, like this week, what was it, this week or last week? It doesn't matter. But my child, who is 9 years old, he's still in elementary. He couldn't even have a backpack. They had banned backpacks.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You guys, my child can't wear a backpack to school.
Yeah.
Yeah. My baby carry his books around, and I'm not saying that because that's just my baby, but I'm saying that's your baby too.
Right. The schools were they said they had sent an email home, at least at the school, because I have a child in charter and I have one in public school, and they basically said the teachers have developed a curriculum where they're not going to need their books or their backpacks or whatever. But I have a daughter, we used to go to like Dolphin games and stuff, so she just had a clear bag with all her stuff in there. She was just like, whatever. So she didn't take a backpack, but she had a clear bag that she put her stuff in, and they ain't say nothing to her. So
you know what, they have flat out at my child's school. So he's having to carry things. And listen, I'm no educator, so I can't really speak to to that. I can only communicate what I hear, but I don't know about everybody else, but I don't necessarily just want my child sitting in front of a laptop for 8 hours, 6, 8.
Yeah.
I understand the need for technology, and I strongly support technology and STEM and science and interest. That's wonderful, but I've had to homeschool my kid on a computer. And you want to know what he's doing? He's on Fortnite. He's on this. He's on that. He's been exposed to things that I don't want him to be exposed to. So,
So we do have a question in the chat. And this person is one of our regulars, is Tamiko. Hi, Tamiko. She says, I am personally impacted by the Anti-Woke Act. What can you do to protect the jobs of the DEI facilitators, consultants? What does DEI mean?
Diversity and inclusion.
Oh, diversity and inclusion. That's what it is. Facilitators and consultants.
Okay, could you repeat it one more time? I'm sorry.
Sure. She said, I am personally impacted by the Anti-Woke Act. What can you do to protect the jobs of DEI, which is diversity and inclusion, facilitators and consultants? She says, I've already lost clients and contracts.
Oh, I hate that. Of course, y'all know I'm really big on diversity and inclusion. Some of the main things that we can do is, again, making sure that we are educating people about the importance of these vendors and these contractors and these organizations that support diversity and inclusion, and making sure that they are funded and that they have resources to be able to do the wonderful work that they do. So I hope I answered your question, but let me know.
She said the Anti-Woke Act is directly impacting her. So can the commission come up with policy to protect those from the anti-woke legislation that just passed? And I think that legislation will take an effect in October.
Yes. So the commission can certainly do things to
she said July 1st. I'm sorry. She said July 1st, the law comes into effect. My bad. Yep. Oh. July 1st.
No worries. So yes, the commission. So to answer the question directly, the commission can certainly implement policies to kind of offset some things, or support whichever way that the commission wants to go, for instance. But they can definitely do something, and they should.
So
do you think this present commission is going to do that on July 1st?
No.
So in the meantime, do you suggest that people like Dameka, myself, and Sandra send emails to our representatives, who are our representatives at this time, and let them know that they need to do something about this anti-woke legislation locally?
Yes, I encourage it. And in fact, I know that they have different avenues, and Nikki, we always talk about this. I know they have different avenues for folks to be heard. Go up there and listen. If you can't go up there, let me know, because if I'm available, I'll be up there, and they'll have to look all of us in our eyes and explain to us. But we have got to stay on these people's necks, for lack of a better word, excuse my vernacular, but we have got to stay on them. And I think sending emails and calling is wonderful if you can't do nothing at all, like I said, but let's be a show of force. Make these people answer to us. And that way, however they want to vote, but they're going to vote, right? But they need to know, like, this is how you're impacting me. And I'm participating in the process, and I'm not going to let up. And that way, no matter how this thing rolls out, we continue to be a force. We continue to show up. We don't let up just because we get a no.
Okay, so one thing that was going on, and the people actually were able to speak up and slowed it down a little bit, was that morgue that they were trying to build in Fort Lauderdale, right? Yep. And so the people were like, whatever, y'all ain't gonna have no dead bodies by my kid's school. And the people showed up, and I remember the day when they went to that commission. I didn't get to go because I had hearings too, but I was you could watch it, the live stream or whatever, and they literally had people sitting there till the end of the night. They were there from 10 in the morning till all day, and then once they got to them, they did some yak and then put it off, but once you get there, what are you gonna do to help the folks? Is that District 8 or 9? I don't know what it is, because they switched up the numbers about that morgue that they were trying to build.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Not that there are other issues that aren't weird, but you know what I'm trying to say. And so to kind of speak to that issue, that was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Them people were not having that. And that's what I'm saying. Whenever we have these issues that impact our community, one way or the other, they can vote. They're going to vote how they want to vote. I'm going to be honest with you. But when we apply pressure, and no matter how the result is, continue to apply pressure, that's what will get us to the finish line. And Sandra, I'm sorry, did I answer your question? Because I feel like I didn't.
No, I'm just saying, like, what position would you take on that issue? Because it's still not resolved.
It's not resolved. I think they put it off exactly like how you said. But I would most importantly just listen to the people. The people are
the people said they don't want it. They said they need a healthcare facility. They're like, we need a urgent care or a hospital or something, because the folks that live in that area, they got to drive like 40 minutes to like the nearest emergency room, which is way crazy, because I got a hospital that I could walk to, if you know what I mean, if I ain't feeling that bad, and there's hospitals all over. I got one literally I could walk to. There's one that's about maybe a 10-minute drive, and all these different things. So the folks, like, they don't want it. They said they don't want it. They need a medical facility there, because it's an older community, and they need a medical facility, not no more.
And
so what would be your position on that issue?
But I listen to the people that directly impact. That doesn't directly impact me. However, if the people are saying no, these are the people that live, work, and go to school in this community. It's a no. It is a no. And that's what I mean by representation matters. So you have people in these spaces that are making decisions that impact, again, people like you and I, and they are not close to the problem. They don't care whether or not there's a morgue right there, because guess what? They can get in their car, like Sandra said, or I can walk to my hospital. And so I would never support something like that if my constituents and my people that I have to be held accountable to disapprove of that.
All right, thank you.
All right, so that means you rocking with the people.
I'm for we with the people.
Okay, that's all. Listen, that's what we need to hear, child, because these people say they with the people, but they don't be doing what the people want.
Yeah.
All right, so you talk about being from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, the Mecca of not the Mecca, but one of the Mecca.
It was the Mecca at one point.
Yeah, it was the Mecca at one point. The Mecca of blackness.
The haters messed it up. It was the Mecca.
Everything. So I think it was recently that the commission decided to do Juneteenth make it a holiday and all that other stuff. And actually, you know, people like us, we were one of the things Sandra and I are talking about. We're like, well, we ain't asked you to do all that. We need extra stuff. Like we need.
I want no Juneteenth, man. I want police to stop killing people for traffic stops. Like, get out of here.
All right, so that's
why we be singing a Black national anthem at the NFL games. Ain't nobody asked for that. Nobody.
So the reason why I'm bringing
Black coaches do some of that.
That's right. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because we talked about it. We were like, ain't nobody actually about no Juneteenth, and then we went straight for the police thing because we know that there was a budget discussion with Broward, with BSO. And I think BSO is also having issues with their 911 operators and all that other stuff. And BSO almost made it seem like Broward County Commission wasn't really giving them enough money when us as a people feel like BSO got enough.
When they got like $1 billion budget.
You know what I'm saying? So we wanted to know for the candidates that are running for, you know, the county commission, what are your thoughts on BSO? Do you believe that their budget should be cut? And we don't tend to
not necessarily cut, like maybe reappropriated to a way that's more effective for the community.
Yeah. Right. And if you were presented with something like that, that would be on the agenda, would you be for or against?
Okay, so I tend to agree with Sandra, and I think that BSO has a lot of money. Now, Sheriff Tony and whomever, I think the issue really becomes about providing oversight to BSO to see exactly how they are appropriating money. But everybody here knows what I do every day. And so I can tell you that both as a criminal defense and a civil rights attorney, I see opportunity, a lot of it, for a lot of good change with the entire BSO. But it's really about holding BSO as an organization accountable for the funds that it does have and providing oversight and looking exactly into their books and how they are spending the money to see exactly what the issue is. But BSO has a lot of money. Let's not be mistaken by that. In fact, BSO is one of the biggest employers here in this county. So they have the funds. It's more about providing oversight and looking to exactly how they are spending their funds.
So would you be for or against reappropriating their funds?
I would be for reappropriating their funds.
Okay.
Yeah. Because everyone talks about training. So I had I have a colleague. Well, so she works at I'm gonna just say it was a PD. Well, I shouldn't say that because people could probably figure out who she is. But she works at one of the agencies nearby, right? And there was a guy that got arrested for taking tires from Tire Kingdom, but the tires were in the trash can, right? And the police actually arrested him. The state attorney actually filed those charges without having an investigator. So she goes and talks to the place there, and they're like, "No, we just throw them in the garbage. Anybody can come and get them." And I'm like, "What kind of police officer is arresting somebody for taking things that's in a garbage can?" It wasn't like a no trespassing sign or anything like that. So at most, it should have maybe been no trespassing. But this dude is being held in the county jail on a burglary charge, and you do criminal defense work. Burglary is like, that's no bond. You got to do an author hearing and all that to get those people out, right? So what can the county commission do about that? If they, do this, look to see what BSO is doing with their money and how they spending money, what type of reforms can they advocate for? Because that shouldn't happen. That's extremely disruptive to that man's life. He probably lost his job, lost his apartment, all kind of stuff, because they want to charge him with an offense that he really didn't commit. And then the state attorney files the charges on top of that, which is mad crazy, but okay.
Okay.
What can the commission do about things like that?
The commission
once it comes to their attention, because they may not know.
The commission can get involved. Okay. Like I said before, there is no the commission can stretch as far as it needs to stretch in terms of coming up with policies and trying to protect everyday citizens like you and I. Now is the time for much needed criminal justice reform. I'll talk about that on another day. But to answer your question, the commission can get involved. The commission can come up with legislation and come up with ideas to make sure that people like this person don't get trapped up into the system. And believe it or not, the commission has a lot of muscle with influencing decisions at the Broward County State Attorney's Office. So and a lot of the people that get caught up in the system are people like this person here. First time people getting arrested and just simply are not educated about the law or whatever, or something as harmless as that. But the commission can get involved either directly with the state attorney's office or indirectly by coming up with legislation. Excuse me, not even indirectly. That is a direct impact that it can have. But coming up with legislation that almost corrects some of those issues that come up with regard to criminal justice reform.
Okay. So I think I got a last question. So in Michigan, there's a guy who got stopped by the police for not having a light on the back of his license plate. He ends up getting shot in the head and killed, right? And so I forgot who it was in Michigan. They was like, you know what? This crazy. We're gonna stop these police officers from making these silly stops, right? Like they want to do some reform to get rid of a lot of the traffic stop, because what we're seeing is a lot of Black folks end up losing their life and they start off on a real silly traffic stop, right? So the police in Michigan was like big mad. They're like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, what you gotta be pulling people over for traffic for? Y'all got big work to do. Go do some other stuff. Deal with that murder rate or something like that. Do with them guns and, investigate when you get calls about people who's threatening to shoot up the school. Y'all got plenty of work to do. You don't need to be pulling people over that's going to lose their life because they didn't have the light on in the back of their license plate, which the person probably didn't even know that, but they ended up dead. So like, is that something that the county commission could consider doing, since we have so much issues with people losing their lives over, just real petty traffic stop? And not only about them losing their life, when a person gets arrested, if they got to pay bond, depending on if they're doing hourly work or something like that, now they're gonna get fired, they're gonna lose their job. That might, they live in paycheck to paycheck, that's gonna mess up the rent. So that stuff is completely disruptive, all because of traffic stops. So would that be something the county commission could support, or would you be willing to put forward a bill that would deal with that?
Absolutely. And the county commission can do things like that as well. Again, through one of those three things that I was talking to you guys about earlier. It can take a legislative approach. It could also take a funding approach, because part of criminal justice reform is some of these actions that are being taken by law enforcement have to do, quite frankly, with racial profiling.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Let's keep it a buck, right? It's racial profiling. It is the fact that me as a Black woman, lifting up Breonna Taylor, I'm afraid of the police. I'm scared that if the police come knocking at my door, I literally have anxiety. People that know me very well know I go hard about Breonna Taylor. I am anxious. Mm-hmm. And I'm a former prosecutor, by the way, turned criminal defense attorney. I'm scared of the police pulling me over or knocking at my door, because I'm scared that they're going to know that I'm an African-American woman and my life don't matter. And that I'm not given enough reason. I'm not given a benefit of a doubt. Mm-hmm. Just like Ma'Khia Bryant, police show up, a 16-year-old girl is dead. No investigation, no looking into trying to figure out and sort out things. Our people are dying. So to answer your question, trying to be brief, the commission can absolutely take a position with that, either legislatively, AKA writing a bill or a law and putting it into place to protect our community, and budget money, educating law enforcement about what rises to the level of a real arrest. Do you even have authority to make an arrest? Mm-hmm. They also need training on bias. Mm-hmm. Implicit bias is a thing. It's a real thing. So it's training our officers about the law, educating them about prejudice and about bias, making sure our law enforcement officers are equipped and have a stance in the community. Because it's one thing if you out of my community, but you coming over here to make an arrest. You don't know me. You don't know my family. You don't know that I'm an attorney. You don't know, and not that being an attorney means anything, right? But you don't know the life that you're taking from my community. Mm-hmm. So, two fronts, going back to your question, legislative and funding to these police departments and providing training and education.
All right. So, question in the chat. Tamiko asked, we've heard a lot about what the county commission can do. Which policy are you personally most interested in supporting or dismantling?
Voting. So last year, I want to say in December of 2021, and don't quote me on this because I could be wrong, but in December of last year, I was very disappointed. Everybody knows that this was a redistricting year, right? Like, make sure that you complete your census and that you vote. My two pushes. Anyways, there were several maps that were before the commission for the commission to approve. Prior to the vote, they heard hours and hours of comments and of history, of education about how, if they approved a certain map, how it would disproportionately affect people of color. And my opponent publicly made a comment saying that he was aware of how approving a certain map would disproportionately impact people of color, and yet still supported it. This is what I'm talking about. Voting.
But why should it disproportionately affect people of color, since they have the ability to spend money? They do the budget, so they don't have to. So why does it?
And that's another funnel. That's another way to correct a measure, right? But it's more than just about, like, for instance, I think you used an example of that you could go to your hospital because you could walk to your hospital. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of my people, we have cars, right? And we have jobs, and they pay us decent enough to be able to get in a car. And we're educated about what the importance of voting is and what it does for our community. But understand that the everyday person is not direct. They're not even there. And so if it comes down to, man, I got to catch an Uber and I got to pay $20 to get to a voting booth, or listen, I'm working from 9 until 5. Then after that, I got to pick up my kids. And after that, I got to make dinner. My decision on whether or not I'm going to vote or not really is impacted by all of that.
Yeah, but that's why we encourage vote by mail.
We encourage vote by mail. We encourage voting. Early voting, absolutely. But understand that there are still significant barriers for people of color. And our county is, believe it or not, our county is the majority. Majority of people in our county, are people of color. And so you mean to tell me that this commission approved a map that is stripping us of our right to vote? I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Talk about it. What you passionate about? And so, do you believe there's something that you can create, or a policy that you can create that would help alleviate this issue?
Yes, and Sandra made an excellent point. We have got to, again, because sometimes, no matter how, if you're the loudest voice in the room, you're going to have people that go your way and people that don't go your way for whatever reason. But there are measures that all of us can do to try to equalize the majority's decisions, such as making sure that people have access to a ballot early, voting by mail. We know we're still in a COVID health pandemic. Also, I forget the name of it, excuse my ignorance, but the drop boxes, that's the name for it. The drop boxes, making sure that we have enough drop boxes, making sure that we educating people about the importance of your most important right, which is your right to vote. So again, increasing the early voting period, increasing hours that you can vote, encouraging people to vote early and by mail. I think those are the ways to offset it. But again, we won't be able to capture everybody, but it's offsetting bad policy.
Okay. All right. And then there's a couple other folks, Black folks running too, maybe we can get 3 or 4 of them up in there and see. I think, would it be 3? Because I think folks are running against each other, but there's a possibility that it may be out of 3 or 4 Black folks on the commission if things go right. Right. Is what I'm gonna say.
And how many women we got on there now? We down to 1?
We have 1.
Okay. Yeah. So we need some women, because we've proven over and over again that we are a great asset.
I agree.
We make things move along in equitable ways. So, and Black women especially, because we're the most educated population. I'm gonna throw that in there.
We are the most engaged.
Most engaged, most educated. There's even like white women out there saying that they need to start listening to Black women.
They should.
I'm just saying, it is what it is.
Hey, well, speak the truth then.
can't deny that at all. Do you have any other questions before we answer the?
I think she did a great job. We're hitting up on the one.
Donate to her campaign and volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
So where can people get in touch with you, sis? Where can we donate some money?
Yes, you guys, I need your vote. I need your support. This is a big race for me. This is my first race. If elected, I would be the first African-American woman in this seat. And it's not even just like Nikki was saying.
In the seat, Sandra, not the commission.
Yeah, just in the I'm holding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or that I plan on holding. Anyways, I'm a first-time candidate. So one of the biggest struggles against running against an incumbent, I'll be quite frank with you, is about spreading our message. The quickest way we can spread our message is by donations and volunteers. You can go to our website at www, and I'll put it somewhere. Maybe I'll put it in the chat or something like that, but www.davis4broward.com.
Number 4 or FOR?
Yes, I'm sorry. And it's spelled out. So FOR, Broward.com. All social medias, and Nikki probably know this. I'm very active on social media. You can find me where I try to get my message out the cheapest way I can. But sometimes, some people don't have access to, internet or phones or whatever. You can find me. And listen, my office is right on Hollywood Boulevard. Come call me. Come talk to me. I'm happy to hear from people. Good, bad, or indifferent. So thank you so much, too. It was a pleasure being with you, ladies, too. I was looking forward to it.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Davis Esquire, for coming on. We are always happy to see a Black woman, an educated Black woman.
Doing great things.
In and out of the community, and also running for office. It takes a big, listen, I was a first-time candidate, too. It's a big step. It's a lot of work.
It is.
And, I don't think people understand what goes into that, but this is all because you want to serve the people. You already have a track record of serving the people. And so this is just another knot in your belt to kind of get you there. And we wish you nothing but success, sis. Hoping that you gain that seat and you out here and you advocate and you show those commissioners how it's done. That's what we're looking for.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, ladies, for having this platform. It was really the highlight of my week. So
all right. Well, we appreciate you coming, girl.
Yes,
how was it, girl?
Yes.
Do your thing, sis. Do your thing.
Ma'am.
All right. You have a great evening. Take care of them babies.
I will. My way to go get them. Y'all have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Right. Bye-bye. All right.
Okay.
So, and I know you're not feeling well, so I don't want to keep you too long because you have a headache.
That's pretty good. She answered the questions.
She did
a good job answering the questions.
She sure did.
In and out. Yeah.
And I appreciate, her responding, her engagement. I like that. I like people who listen and try to engage and get it where you fit in. She does, and I have to be honest, I've known her from the past and we have a mutual friend together. Those things that she talks about, she really, really does. This is not like somebody just saying that. She does do those things. Some candidates will tell you how they've been in the community doing all these bunch of stuff or whatever, and you barely see them. She, on the other hand, I've seen it. And now she's on the board, which means that she's consistently been involved with those organizations. And so, and so that really shows you the servant heart that she's willing to work for people and work for everybody. So that is that's what it is. That's true.
Amazing.
Yes. Do you want to wrap up, or do you want to wrap up?
I think that was a wrap up. She did good. I think she answered the questions. I did follow up. So with the concerns that I had,
Yes.
And then she acknowledged that, it's a possibility that you get there and then, you have all these high hopes and then you get there and they'll be like, oh, I really can't do that. And you have to find ways to stay grounded because that seemed to happen. People get drunk with power and then they they make promises that they can't keep, for one reason or another. So I really appreciate that.
I think she also was honest about hey, if I'm not going to be able to get what the people want, it almost sounds to me, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it almost sounds to me that she's willing to vote no and be on record voting no. And it's not going to happen. It's not.
Hold her accountable.
So, that's the best people can do. You know how it is. So, we'll see how that goes. We have extended out invitations to all those who are running for the districts in Broward County. And Ms. Davis Esquire is the one who responded. We haven't gotten responses from other people, but we understand it is a busy time. It's midterm elections, and with these constant mass shootings.
Yeah. And they have a lot of issues. They have a lot of panels, because I think there's a couple that I see that's going on right now. I know Duff and Democrat have their meeting tonight. Miami-Dade Democratic Club have their meeting tonight. Democratic Caucus have their meeting tonight. So it's a lot of stuff going on. So
a lot of stuff going on. And so, but at least they're out there and they're talking, and people are getting to see them and learn from them.
Yeah, there's something else.
So we
have a Broward Jewish Caucus June meeting is tonight too. So yes, it's a lot going on.
Meeting tonight. I think they're trying to wrap things up before the end of the year, the end of June.
Summer. Yeah, because I think a lot of people are going to they have to qualify by next week, right? By like Monday.
Qualify by the 13th. I think the 13th is the last day for them to put in their paperwork, put in their money, or their petitions if they've gathered petitions to qualify for those seats. And those are the people who are going to be on the ballot. So we're looking forward to, Annette Tadeo dropped out of the governor's race. You think?
Yes, and she's going to run against Ana Maria Salazar. Or I think it's District 25 or 27 or something like that.
Right. So she's
in Miami-Dade County.
And we talked about not knowing if this was like a strategic thing for her, but she's gone. So now it's down to Chris.
Keep the majority in the House. So that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Maybe she started writing on the wall with the governor race. So do something that's going to have you be able to contribute.
There you go. Now we're down to Nikki Fried and Charlie Crist. And so we'll see how those things go in the primary. However, if you go on the website to see who's running for governor, there's like 18 people on there. So
yeah, we're not dream killers, so they get to keep hope alive.
Okay, if you say so, it is what it is. We will have a conversation about these access seats that one of the candidates came in and talked about. That's something important that we have to discuss. Only because the map that the governor that was being challenged against the governor has the Supreme Court has stated where it's going to be just like this for now, and they're going to revisit it another time, but it will be during this election time. And so that's an issue, but it is what it is.
That's the whole thing.
It is a whole thing. All right, so we'll see you all actually on Friday.
Yep.
We'll have our second commission candidate who is running for, I think, District 8, I want to say.
Yeah, Od Sakard.
Yep, Od Sakard will be here with us on Friday at 5 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you there and asking her probably similar questions that we asked Ms. Davis Esquire. And we have an interview with another school board candidate the following week. And I think we have 2 interviews for school board candidate the last week of June. So we'll see you then. And then if we have anything to talk about in between, we'll let y'all know. Okay.
Alrighty.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and share as much as you can. And we'll see you guys on Friday.
Yes, thank you.
Is this Friday? Okay, Friday. So we'll see you all on Friday. Oh, be careful, be safe. COVID is still out there. Wear your mask.
Yeah, or the flu is out there. There's something out there. We see it.
Something out there. My daughter's still sick. So you all be careful. All right. Peace.